Eso es lo que estamos comprometidas las personas que trabajamos como Mujeres Unidas.
We just ask you to stop by and take a look, and just remember that all proceeds go to Mujeres Unidas to help victims of domestic violence and sexual assault. You'll enjoy coming here to our store at 124 East Newcomb in Pharr.
I do want to welcome you to this great facility. We have a lot of usable space. So the usable space in this area consists of an exhibit hall, the meeting rooms, and the component of a research center, which is also, that has resources like a typical library that you would find, just all the resources you would find at the main library in Central Pharr. So we have about 25,000 square feet of usable space that we welcome our residents to come and use. I'm really grateful that our commission was able to come together with the community and build a great facility. The furniture is top of the line. Everything is new in this facility. New computers, new furniture, everything is networked in this facility. You have Wi-Fi available 24 hours a day. There's going to be a Parks and Rec component, so the exhibit hall will be able to be used by the community to come in and have some programming that's going to be available through the Parks and Recreation Department. Very friendly facility. The colors work great. The carpeting is beautiful as well. And above all, we're going to have staff here available so that they can help the community.
Hi, my name is Analia Alanis, and I am the HR Director for the City of Pharr. Today, I am pleased to introduce to you guys our Mother's Room. A little bit of background in the Mother's Room. There has been some guidelines established for employers to provide their employees with a confined, free of intrusion space for them to express milk. That's really all the requirements they have. The only other guideline that's established is that it not be a bathroom. But the City of Pharr, thanks to the support of our Mayor Ambrosio Hernandez and our elected officials, decided to step it up a notch. This is the room that we have created for our mothers. We wanted to make sure that they have a space where they feel comfortable and almost as if they're at home. They have their recliner where they can sit. We have lamps so they can dim the lights so they can be comfortable as well. We have some decorations. We try to make it into a baby's room. We also provided a refrigerator for them to store their milk, and they can leave it there till the end of the day. And thanks to the generosity of Doctors Hospital Renaissance, we're able to provide our nursing mothers with a hospital-grade breast pump. Some additional items that we wanted to make sure that we provide to our nursing mothers are storage bags and some sanitary supplies such as wipes and just the essentials that we know that they might need while they're expressing milk here in the room. Also, we make sure that we have waters for mothers to keep hydrated as they're breastfeeding. And obviously, we also have a small sink area. I just hope that employees do take advantage in utilizing this room. It was very carefully designed, and we hope that it benefits the employees, and we hope that they enjoy it.
What do you think you're doing, Kevin?
Was just gonna drive home.
There are several warning signs present that you shouldn't be driving.
Like hearing voices?
Like your text-to-emoji ratio?
Oh man, the selfies. Selfie, nailed it.
We all have warning signs that let us know that we're probably not okay to drive. Mine is pretending to be your subconscious.
Craig, come on man, let's split a ride home.
It's okay. Better luck next time. Maybe you'll have better luck. Come out to the Development and Research Center in Pharr and join us for pickleball. Open play, Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, 1 to 4:30. Or come to our beginners clinic, Friday evening, 6 to 8. It's a lot of fun. It's a $1 donation to help us pay for equipment. Come join us.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear God, as we begin this meeting, we ask that you guide our thoughts and actions. Help us to accomplish our goals while displaying your character. We pray these things in your mighty name. Amen.
Chairman Directors, the first item on your workshop agenda, item 1, is a review of fiscal year 2018 financial statement and independent auditor's report for the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority. Mr. Luis Lopez with the Burton McCumber is going to present the findings of the audit for 2018.
Thank you, Pilar. Good evening, Chairman, members of the board. My name is Luis Lopez. I'm an audit manager with Burton McCumber in Longoria. I'm here with you today to present to you the audit of the financial statements for the year ended December 31st, 2018. As you know, Ricky Longoria is the partner on the engagement. Unfortunately, we did have two audit presentations at the same time, so we had to divide and conquer. Before I get started, I do want to acknowledge the fact that we are here presenting this audit report on time, within the 90 days. And I do want to give credit to the staff for being very cooperative throughout the process, providing information timely and responding to any inquiries we had in a timely manner. You should have, if you open your report, you should have a 3-page letter that is stapled. I'm going to start with this. This is what we call the governance letter. It includes certain matters that we as auditors are required to communicate to you, the governing body. And I won't read through the entire letter. I'll just kind of hit some points on it. We have audited the financial statements of Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority for the year ended December 31st, 2018. Confirming that this audit was conducted under generally accepted auditing standards and general government auditing standards. Government is responsible for the selection of accounting policies. Note 1 to the footnotes to the financial statements includes a summary of the significant accounting policies. The letter speaks to the fact that in these financial statements, as there are in any other financial statements, there are certain estimates included in the balances. In this case, an estimate that was made was on the allowance for uncollectible. In this case, management determined that receivables were 100% collectible, and so no allowance was needed. We encountered no difficulties in dealing with management in performing the audit. As I mentioned before, everyone was very cooperative. There were certain adjustments posted during the audit process. Some of these were a result of the normal reconciliation process and closing and audit procedures as well. I did include on the 3rd page of this stapled packet the adjustments that were posted, and there were only three adjustments. The letter speaks to the fact that there were no disagreements with management during the course of the audit in terms of financial accounting, reporting, or auditing matters. The letter does confirm that we did receive a management representation letter at the conclusion of our audit. In some cases, management may decide to consult with other accountants to obtain a second opinion. To the best of our knowledge, that did not occur with this engagement. And under other matters, it just speaks to the fact that the report does include required supplementary information, which is the management discussion and analysis, the MD&A. Limited procedures were performed on the MD&A, but we did not audit this section, and therefore we do not render an opinion on this section. If there are no questions on this letter, I'll move on to the report. Just very briefly, if you can turn to page 3, which is the table of contents, I do want to highlight a significant difference between this year's report and last year's report. Last year's report, there was an extra section in the table of contents and a section in the back of the report for the single audit. This year, there was no single audit conducted. The reason for that being that last year you had about $12.4 million in federal and state funds that were expended for the construction of the US 281 project. That project has since been completed. In the current year, there was only about $200,000 that was expended of federal and state funds. So the threshold that would trigger a single audit was not met. So I just wanted to highlight that difference. If you can turn to the 5th page, which is the audit report letter that is on BML letterhead. Again, we have audited the accompanying financial statements of Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority as of and for the year ended December 31st, 2018. Our audit report letter does include management's responsibilities. Management is responsible for the preparation and fair presentation of these financial statements. Our responsibility as auditors is to express an opinion on these financial statements based on our audit. And so if you go down to the last paragraph of that page, in our opinion, the financial statements referred to above present fairly in all material respects the financial position of Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority as of December 31st, 2018, and the changes in financial position and cash flows thereof for the year then ended in accordance with accounting principles generally accepted in the United States of America. So this is what you call an unmodified opinion, a clean opinion, basically saying that the financial statements are fairly stated. I will just give a brief overview. This year's financial statements and the activity was fairly straightforward. I know in previous years there have been certain items that are highlighted, such as prior period adjustments or changes in accounting principles. This year there was none of that. So if you can turn to page 12, this is a statement of net position. And I know it's hard to give context because it only presents current year information, but I will provide some prior year numbers for comparison. Your total assets this year were $135 million. Last year, your total assets were $132 million, so there was an increase there. Total liabilities this year were $85.5 million. Last year, there were $86 million, so there was a small decrease in your liabilities. Overall, your net position increased by about $3.3 million. The bulk of your net position is in the bucket of net investment in capital assets, and that's mainly due to the type of entity and all the costs going into, or many of the costs going into your construction in progress. If you turn to the next page, which is the statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in fund balance. basically provides a detail of how and why your net position increased by 3.3 million. Operating revenues in the current year were 7.1 million. In the prior year, there were 6.3 million. So you had a pretty significant increase in operating revenues, primarily due to the fact that the trends continue to be upward on the vehicle registration fees, and on the overweight permits, that increased significantly due to the fee increasing from $80 to $200, and so that is reflected here in that balance. So total operating income in the current year was 6.1 million. Last year it was 5.3. Again, primarily due to those increases to those revenue sources. Non-operating revenue includes items such as interest expense, amounts due from other governments, such as TxDOT and contributions from cities. The non-capitalized construction costs, those are the final costs to complete the US 281 project. As we mentioned in the prior year audit, because that project is turned over to TxDOT at completion, and it is going to be maintained by TxDOT, it's not an asset of the RMA, therefore those costs are not capitalized. In terms of the financial statements, that's all I have. I do encourage you to read through the notes to the financial statements, as they do provide additional detail. I will just point out that there is one additional note that was not on here in the prior year. This is on page 23, item G, which is just the operating lease commitments, and it basically just outlines the lease payments over the per year during the lease term. And this was added just because of the increase in the current year in the lease expense. And finally, if you turn over to the very back of the report, there is another letter that is on BML letterhead. This is our report on internal control over financial reporting and on compliance in accordance with government auditing standards. Basically, the results of our testing identified no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses. However, material weaknesses may exist that have not been identified, mainly for the purpose that we don't test every single transaction. We do sampling, and so we didn't identify any of those items. Had we identified any material weaknesses or significant deficiencies, there would have been additional pages included within the report outlining what those findings were and management's responses as to how those findings would have been addressed. At this time, I'll entertain any questions that you may have.
Any questions on the audit? I'm good, thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman, Directors, the next item on your workshop is item 2, review of fiscal year 2018 annual compliance report for the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority. This is basically a statutory requirement of the authority that we turn in an annual compliance report. In your packet under workshop item number 2 is a copy of that compliance report that's required under Chapter 26 of the Texas Administrative Code. And then there's 3 columns. On the very left column is the compliance rule that we're required to comply with. The center column is our compliance statement, basically whether we're in compliance with the item or not in compliance, or it's not applicable. And then the third column on the very right is the certification of that item. There's 2 items on your regular agenda where you will be certifying that the audit. You'll be accepting the audit from Burton McCumber Longoria, that's certifying 2 of these items. And then you're required to approve this compliance report by board action before we submit it to TxDOT. And that'll be another item on your regular agenda for approval. And so I'll answer any questions you may have over the compliance report. It's a 1-page report. It's very, very simple format, and we're required to submit it annually.
Any questions on the compliance report? No, sir. Thank you. Let's go and call the meeting to order, and we've got a quorum.
Sir. Item 1A, Chairman and Directors, is a report on program manager activity for the 365 Tollway project and the IBTC environmental clearance document. Eric Davila will be giving you a report.
Good evening. With regard to the 365, we continue to prepare for the project for the rescope and rebid. In addition to discussing with TxDOT what our next steps would be, we're also preparing some changes to or updates to the procurement policies and the way we handle the RFP documents to be in compliance with some additional federal requirements in anticipation for using some federal funding on the redesign of the project. We're also preparing a few utility-related items to bring to the board in the next month or two to, again, align some of the utility work that will need to take place ahead of construction. Once we know, or we kind of have an idea where we're going to land on the rebid set of plans and going out to bid again, we want to be able to time some of those utility companies, since they have some lag time, that if you don't push them early on, they're not going to perform on time when we need them to move. So I want to make sure we keep, striking while the iron's hot. And then on the IBTC project, we held the public meeting on March 19th. The turnout was very good. You had nearly 100 people show up between the public. A couple of, I know we had one board member, that Mr. Frank Pardo, showed up, and we had the county judge's office present. Most folks stuck around for the public meeting presentation that took place. We had, given the turnout, we had 3 very good questions asked of us. Some of it having to do with schedule, some of it having to explain design, and some landowner concerns which don't really materialize to a whole lot to answer in this public meeting summary report. We're just going to summarize those questions, essentially attach all the exhibits and get that into TxDOT's hands as soon as we can. Our public comment period ends April 3rd, and so we've already received a good number of inquiries, but again, nothing that wasn't already asked either on the floor when we were having the public meeting or in the open session, so nothing that we hadn't really seen yet. Most questions are about schedule. When are you coming? So that was a good indicator that we've been doing the outreach necessary to not surprise anybody out there. And those are essentially the biggest updates we have on both projects. Any particular questions we could entertain right now? Hearing none?
Any questions? Okay, good. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Chairman and Directors, the next item is the consent agenda. All matters listed under the consent agenda are considered to be routine by the governing body and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. However, if discussion is desired, that item or items will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately.
Are there any questions about the consent agenda? If not, entertain a motion for approval. Motion Alonso, and second by me. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Regular agenda.
Item 3A, Resolution 2019-15, approval of fiscal year 2018 financial statement and independent auditors report for the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority. So this is consideration and approval of the financial statement and independent auditors report prepared by Burton McCumber and Longoria for the fiscal year 2018. The report is required by the Texas Administrative Code, Title 43, Part 1, Chapter 26, Subchapter G, Section 26.65A. Staff recommends approval.
Can I get a motion for the resolution of 2019-15, approval of fiscal year 2018 financial statement independent audit? Have a motion by Paul, second by Rick. All in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Item 3B, resolution 2018 approving the annual compliance report for the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority. Again, this compliance report is required under the Texas Administrative Code, Title 43, Part 1, Chapter 26, Subchapter G, that deals with regional mobility reports and audits. This is a compilation of compliance items that the authority is required to report to the Texas Department of Transportation on annually. Staff recommends approval of the compliance report.
Can I get a motion for approval of resolution 2019-16?
So moved.
I have a motion, can I get a second?
Second.
Motion and second, all those in favor say aye. Approved, same sign, motion carries.
Item 4, Chairman's Report, annual election of the Vice Chairman and Secretary Treasurer for the Hidalgo County Regional Mobility Authority Board of Directors. Chairman and Directors, under the bylaws, you're required to have an election annually to elect a Vice Chairman and a Secretary Treasurer, or you could opt to elect a Secretary and Treasurer separately. However, under the bylaws, you are allowed to combine them into one office, and historically, the board has opted to do that.
I want to make election to Pharr's run vice chair.
A motion for Forrest Reynolds to be vice chair.
Second.
A motion second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Forrest. The nomination for Secretary Treasurer, can I get a nomination? It's not getting too exciting here.
Everybody's looking at me.
I'll nominate Rick Pettis.
I have a nomination for Rick Pettis.
Secretary Treasurer, how's that? Rick?
Sounds like a winner to me.
All right.
Motion and second. Any nominations? Nomination cease. All those in favor say aye. Rick say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Chairman, recommend that you enter into executive session for item 6A under section 551.071 of the Texas Government Code.
Motion to adjourn into executive session. Motion by Rick, second by Zeke. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
Thank you, Bruce.
Committee to order. Item number 1, roll call. Mari Cruz, please.
Mari Caballero.
Here.
Richard Carranza.
Present.
Romeo Robles.
Here.
Olivia Ramirez.
Here.
Frank Santana.
Here.
Thank you, Mari Cruz. We'll move on to item 1B, invocation. Let us be still for a moment. Quiet our minds of all other thoughts. Put ourselves in the presence of our Father and open up our hearts to receive His blessings. Dear wise and loving Father, we praise and thank you for all our many and abundant blessings, for life itself, for our families, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our callings, for food that sustains us, and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to be involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities in your name. Amen. Thank you. We move on to item 2, administrative. 2A, approval of minutes for February 19th, 2019. I need a motion on the floor to approve those minutes, please. I approve. Okay, we have Ms. Ramirez making a motion, and we have Mr. Robles, seconding that motion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, that motion carries. Thank you. We go on to item 2B, the Parks and Recreation new park overview by the Parks and Recreation Director, Mr. Sergio Alanis. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, Sergio Alanis, Parks and Rec Director for the record. Thank you for inviting me over today. I just prepared a real brief slideshow of some of the stuff for the parks, I guess the construction. It's been a while since I guess y'all last saw me, and whatever questions that you may have, just feel free to stop me when I'm going through these slides. I may go a little bit too fast, but just a lot of the construction that's been going on since the fall up until now. And I'm gonna go ahead and start off with the stuff that is already done, 100% complete, and that was our skate park here at Victor Garcia. This one, I believe it got started in approximately maybe in October, and they completed it right before Christmas. So this is what it, what they gave us in the summer, what the park was going to look like, right? The conceptual renderings, and this is an aerial photo that media got with a drone, and pretty much looks exactly what they promised, right? So yeah, it's it was 12 weeks construction, or it was 10 weeks, I'm sorry, 10 weeks construction, $300,000, and it was on time and within budget, no change orders. So we're very, very happy with the results, the turnout, as you guys can see. And the building that was there used to be the old swimming pool, locker rooms and stuff like that. We just gave it a little bit of some paint, lipstick. So here's a ribbon cutting that we had last Thursday. There's Rick. And then also, Chris, I don't know if you can click on that link for us. Real quick video that Chris and his coworkers did for us. Y'all can check it out. So that's our recently completed skate park. I don't know if you guys have any questions. Guys from Public Works were out there for several weeks. Rick's guys were out there. If you guys can remember, it used to be the old municipal pool. So very, very deep holes, I guess, that needed to get filled in. And Rick's guys were out there for several weeks, compacting it and grading it and stuff like that. So tremendous help from the Public Works department. So.
I just had a real quick question.
Yes, sir.
What is in your estimate, what is the usage of the park as of, like right now that it's been complete?
Tremendous. Yeah, it's I guess beginning, I've been out there at 9 in the morning and there's kids out there, and obviously the ones that are not supposed to be in school, right? Up until 11 p.m., 12 p.m., they go into we've had a call PD out there to get some kids out of there, but extremely packed. Yes.
Right.
Yeah. I think they were asking for this for a while. The city gave it to them, so everybody's really excited about it, and just the participation, the people that have gone out there is it's what we expected. So we're very pleased with the community usage out of it right now.
I have a question too. Was there additional trees planted? 'Cause
Yes.
I know in the summer it gets so hot.
Yes. Yeah. We did plant some trees. It was approximately, I think we're at about 20.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
So, yes. Yeah. We put grass out there. We put some trees, and we did add a graffiti, like an art wall, kind of what we did at Lore Garcia, just to kind of give that park a little bit more. Another component.
The teenager pizzazz.
Another component. Yes. So.
So to recap, that was 10 to 12 weeks?
It was 10 weeks. 10 weeks construction.
On budget, on time.
They started on time. They finished on time. The project was 300,000. No change orders, and they turned it in right before Christmas. So we just had a little bit of a delay with the ribbon, with the grand opening because of the holidays and the weather and stuff like that. So, but yeah, we did a soft opening in case kids wanted to get skateboards and stuff like that for Christmas. But very happy with what the final product. So,
I have a question. Is there going to be a project like this going on in the South Park, like in the Box Jazz Park?
Not that I'm aware of right now. This is, I guess as of right now, this is the only skate park that we have planned. We do have another one connected to the Civic Center. There's another small little skate park there with ramps. So as of presently, we have two skate parks. So, but that is something that we can look into for the future. Yeah.
Mr. Alanis, you may share briefly with the committee on how we arrived at determining the needs of the community by that research study that was done.
We did it. We had a Parks Master Plan update a few years ago. It took a while to get to where when we completed it, it was about 9 months. Mrs. Ann Bagley, she's out of Dallas. She worked on that for us, and with community surveys, stuff online with the media department. A lot of people kind of tell you what's lacking or what they want to see at these parks, different parts of town. And I guess the number one thing was walking trails, which are being addressed, and I'll go over those here shortly in the other parks. So lighted walking trails, open space, which is exactly what we focused on. Somewhere along the lines in there was a lot of the kids were asking for a skate park. So this is a very small skate park, but it's a huge step for us. So it's something that we can build on.
So for the Parks and Rec Department to arrive at what they were going to develop and where, this survey became the master plan, and she even came out to the park over by the Parks and Rec Department, and she had an open, like a town hall, basically.
Right.
The community was invited to come out, and she had eyeball-to-eyeball conversations with community, with people who were out there, families, and people who were out there just enjoying the time. And she tried a lot of different ways to collect information.
Yeah, because on the Boxing Joint Park, there's a lot like trails and everything. But I see a lot of kids like on the basketball courts and everything, and something like this, they will benefit a lot.
Yeah,
probably the community from that side didn't involve too much.
No, we had different. Yeah.
The idea is to, I guess, have the same amenities on each part of town. On the north side, the central part, on the south side. So, the north side, we're putting a splash pad. Here in the central part of town, we have the aquatic center, and then we are putting a splash pad at Jones Box Park. So you got your three water feature components, amenities in each part of town. So the goal would be to eventually, have hopefully we can do a skate park in the south side of town. So
it's like a work in progress, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're gonna evolve. So we're good with it.
Thank you. I know you're going to continue with.
Yeah, no, and something else that we just added to our parks where we did brand new dugouts. The dugouts that we had at the baseball fields were, 40 years old, so we upgraded the dugouts here. So there's a couple of pictures of those, and those are done. We actually start baseball season next week, so we're good to go here. And also a lot of help from the Public Works Department with a lot of this project. Without them, we can't get it done. So. I'll move on to the Civic Center. These are renderings, aerial of the Civic Center, and then some shots here y'all can see, and it's gonna look exactly like this. Yeah. So this one's under construction right now. Part of it will be complete hopefully by the end of next month, and the other part will be complete by the end of May. We're anticipating. So you see some of the construction, some of the CMU going up here for which is the front part here. So like I said, it's gonna look exactly like those renderings. So does anybody have any questions with the Civic Center?
That's amazing. Oh, this is
a downtown park, right outside. I'm sure you guys noticed some of the construction going on. This is the south side of City Hall, and what it's going to look like. We have a trellis. We're gonna have an area for food trucks and amphitheater, as you can see there towards I guess the middle left, also with the water feature that kind of meanders towards the city, towards City Hall. I'm sorry. And the north side, smaller version, right? We have a fountain water feature there with also some little berm area where people can sit, and we'll have some shaded seating there off to the north side. So,
What's the estimate time it's gonna take?
This one right here, the picture of this one, they're at 60%, which is the north side, which is right in between us and churches. And and I apologize for the quality of the pictures. It was a very great day today, drizzling, but I wanted to give you guys the most recent photos that we can get. So, yeah, that's the fountain right there that you see. You can see the seating where those gentlemen are standing. So this is at 60%. I would say maybe another month or so, they should be wrapping it up.
Going fast.
Yeah. And then the south side hasn't started yet, but they did do demolition on the south side. So as soon as we have HubFest coming up March 30th, as soon as we're done with HubFest, they'll get going on the south side. And then this is just another project that ties into the parks downtown. This will be some arches that we'll have extending from east cage to west cage. And we'll have lights on there, LEDs and stuff like that. So these are just renderings, but and these two will also look like that, minus the little cowboy guy on top. But yeah, real neat. We'll be able to do what we want for our special events. We can put Christmas lights on these and stuff like that. So.
Do we know where that cowboy that was on the Texan?
It's in Rick's backyard.
It's in Rick's backyard.
We have it there. We have it.
It's in the back.
That might be a cool thing to put there.
Yeah.
It's
So.
in his warehouse.
What's that angel there? That statue?
It's just the statue of Nike. The architect threw it in there in the renderings. I think that's the statue that they might go with there on the north side.
It's pretty.
So this one hasn't started yet. A lot of these things will get going right after HubFest. The construction for this should get underway as well. So these are shots of the nature park today. The left one's a shot of the restrooms. The one on the top right is kind of looking down towards the amphitheater where the natural stone seating is going to be. And then the bottom right is a walking trail that goes towards where the pond is at. It was very muddy, so we didn't get in there to take photos in the vegetated area. So, and this one's at 80%. So we're hoping maybe by the end of next month we'll have significant completion on all these parks. These next three parks. Dr. Long, we already have 5 acres at Dr. Long. This is an expansion of it, so it's 22 acres. On top of that one to bring it up to 27 acres. And this is just the angle of the restrooms and the play structure that's there. Play structures are already, and kids are already trying to play on them. We have, it's a little difficult to keep. I know they're anxious to get in there already. It's been a while. And then same thing at Arnold. This one may be more so because it's got a splash pad you see on the left-hand side there. We're getting a splash pad in there, and very similar play structure with different color scheme and basically identical bathrooms. So I think I don't know if there's anything this is just kind of the current construction that we do have going on. I don't know if you guys have any questions. I know I went really quickly through some of these, but.
The construction's on either side of the city hall. What's the completion dates, more or less?
The north side, it would be the next month on the north side. The south side would be 3 months, 3 to 4 months, yeah. Once construction gets underway. Okay. Yes. And I think, if I recall correctly, the engineer said that they'll probably try to do the park on the south side as well as the arches across Cage. So.
Okay. Sergio, could you share with our committee these parks in acreage, what the what we're bringing the green space up to now. What we have and then what we're bringing it up to by the addition
Yeah,
of this.
we're right at around 62 acres currently. With the addition of these, that'll bring us up to about 130. So we're doubling. And as per our Parks Master Plan, you know, a city of our size with the amount of residents that we have here in Pharr, we should be at around 250. So once we get these parks opened and, you know, added to our total acreage, we'll be at about half of where I guess the national standard recommends for a city our size to be. But a huge step in the right direction after being, you know, we're all the cities in the valley are a little bit deficient on park acreage, but we're almost there. So we'll be at about 130 acres.
So, and then just to recap, this additional acre, if you were to, the acres, this has been going on for the last 4 years, maybe 3 years, trying to acquire the land, creating the partnerships, the surveys. What would you say?
The city school parks have been in the works for a few years now.
Yeah.
I would say maybe about 3 years, 3 or 4 years. We have that partnership with PSJ where they have the land. They buy extra land every time they build a school. The city needs park space, so we basically build the park on their property. So we have that interlocal with them. So we share the park essentially. So during school hours, the park is closed to the public, and the school has it open for their kids. Once school's closed, it's open to the public. So. But while the kids are in school, these parks are to remain closed. The city school parks only. But our standard hours of operation for our municipal parks, those are 11. They're closed from 11 p.m. to 6 a.m. So, but yeah, it's been a while.
So it's a relationship. It's begins with creating that relationship with our school district, the city making the commitment. The master plan that must have started about 5 years ago.
Yes.
Working with Ms. Bagley. And then, of course,
and we'll be good for a few more years before we have to update it again.
Yeah. And it's just this process. So it didn't happen overnight.
Oh no, it
didn't
took a
happen
while.
overnight.
So we have a checklist of things that we're crossing off on that Parks Master Plan update, and hopefully before it expires, I guess we will have those accomplished. So
it's
a lot of activity going on in the parks, staying very busy, and hopefully we won't stop here. We'll continue to add some more stuff. Yeah.
Anybody have any questions for Mr. Alanis?
I have another one. I was curious. Are these two by City Hall? Those two that are additions in the side, each side, are they going to be lighted? Like,
yes.
Like over here.
We'll have plenty of light. Plenty of light.
All night?
Yeah, there's already some poles going up on the north side, so they will be very well lit. City Hall has cameras. All the parks, all these parks that we showed you, including the existing ones, all having cameras and 911 call box towers. So a lot of security going into all our parks this spring. So a lot of cameras, a lot of lighting, security, and stuff. So
good.
And I personally have heard that at Jones Box, where they've upgraded the lighting and everything for the parks.
The guys from Public Works are the ones who spearheaded that, so they helped us out very much with that project. We had a lot of trail lights out for a long time. We were having to turn on the soccer field lights and the baseball field lights, and Mr. Pettis helped us out getting that stuff done to get these trail lights back. So.
We felt it was important for the committee to see how, what's going on with our parks, but moreover, to see the relationship that, Mr. Alanis mentioned several occasions how Public Works came in and did excavating or bringing in and compacting soil and whatnot. So it's obviously a great partnership as well.
Yeah, and they're doing a parking lot there at the church too.
Yeah.
So
you might, yeah.
That's for our baseball league too. Our baseball.
That is? They're on Sam Houston?
It's on Sam Houston. It's kind of So I know you're gonna talk about that in a bit, Mr. Pedraza.
That's gonna help out huge for baseball season.
That baseball park that's right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, so things work in unison, in partnership, and as a team, things get done, so. Anybody else?
Commend you and your staff and the city staff members for a great, fantastic job you're doing with our parks.
Yes, sir. Appreciate that.
I really do.
Anybody else? Questions?
Mr. Alanis, thank you so much
Thank you
for
for having
coming
me.
to our committee and today our meeting and sharing with us this valuable information. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, we move on to administrative item C, status report from Public Works.
Good evening, Board. For the record, my name is Ricardo Pedraza. I'm Director of Public Works from City of Pharr. Tonight, I'm going to go ahead and first start off. We have somebody here from Code Enforcement, Mr. Rick Gamboa, and Public Works has been working with Code Enforcement to be picking up illegal dumping and also other code violations that the city sometimes feels that it's something that we need to take care of immediately. So I want Rick, before we start the whole public, to come up here and just give a brief description of what's been happening since the last time. Rick?
Yes, sir. Hello, Rick Gamboa, Code Compliance Coordinator, City of Pharr. And as Rick, Mr. Pedraza was saying, yes, we've been having, it seems like the illegal dumping has been escalating lately in the City of Pharr. They see a little brush containment and they think that's where everybody's gonna throw their brush. And guess what? It's an apartment complex. We don't have service for that. We don't have our own city sanitation department, so that creates a dilemma for who's gonna pick it up. And it takes a little bit of while, folks, if we're trying to do our best. And yes, Public Works again comes in as our heroes because they have contributed all their time and effort for our cries of what can we do, what can we do, what can we do? And apart from everything else that we're doing, that's our main priority because it seems like a rash. It goes to one area and then you go to the other area and we're amazed at how from one point, Owasso to military to our veterans and Jackson, and we see it and we just go, well, they want it picked up, they want it picked up, they want it picked up. And we try to remedy and investigate where, what, and where it came from, but it's hard, folks. We can't find that little paper, and it's mainly brush, bricks, like if it's construction people doing all this. But in the story, to Mr. Pedraza, it's at night, construction workers come and dump it. It's at night, construction workers come and dump it. So protocol is get a police report, but after that, they just get a case number. Code, can you take care of it? Code, can you take care of it? So it's hard, but with the help of Public Works, we're surviving and keeping our green level instead of red level on our radar, folks. But we do, Code does health, we do illegal dumping, we do everything that the PD doesn't do. We do everything. So just an FYI, we're trying. It's me and 5 others that have our sections. We got 1 in the north side, 2 in our district here in Central, and 2 in the south side. And it's hard. We can't catch everything. We do have our eyes and ears in every neighborhood that we try to get assistance from. And like I said, our goal is to move forward. And I'll tell you something, folks, if you guys know anybody from the surrounding cities, we've gotten all our crew from Code Enforcement is all new. We have San Juan, we have Harlingen, we have McAllen that are in from the other entities, and they're saying, wow, Pharr works. I don't know what other job descriptions they have on the other cities, but we work in the city of Pharr, guys. It's a tough environment, it's a tough job, but it's getting done, folks, so.
So you're saying the 6 people come from different, not just Pharr, they're
Well,
coming from other.
It's
other-
not just that, ma'am, but they're registered already. We got a 20-year veteran from Harlingen.
Sure.
We got an 8-year veteran from San Juan. We got a 6-year veteran from McAllen. So I think if you mix those, it's like, real quick, I used to be in sales. And once we had an A team that came from another location, and all my sales guys were going, we don't need those guys. And I was over here being all positive. Yes, we do. We're going to learn from him, and him. And guess
Exactly.
what? I'm going to be in top. And I was one of the. I managed to stay afloat with their. I just learned from each one what their specialty was, and I learned it, and that's where we're at. So, and just like to let you know, anything that comes up with code enforcement, just call we got 2 very busy clerks that take care of health and all our code compliance issues.
When you mean health, what is that, what exactly?
We do all our restaurant inspections. We do all the daycare inspections. We do all the safety food handling of food that we do. And I don't know if you've heard, but word's getting out that we're pretty tough on our
Restaurants.
because we're going to the restaurant. What's entailing in a restaurant is your basic hairnets, no fingernails, no long fingernails, no mustaches, no sanitary clean uniforms, plus all the surrounding building. We were just targeting the health-wise, the food. It's got to have dates, clean kitchens. We've had to actually have voluntary shutdown on various of our restaurants here in the city of Pharr, guys, FYI. So we do that. So it's a
You're busy.
combination of, yes, and